In today's lesson, we are looking at a couple of more toolpaths. One is the model chamfer, and other one is the drill chamfer toolpath. So these toolpaths actually works pretty good on a solid model, and it makes the chamfering, very easy and seamless process. Much easier than doing from 2D contours. So let's go into it and try these. Okay, so if we explore these toolpath window here, the model chamfer is right here in the beginning. Okay, so let's select that. So once we get in there, it's gonna ask us, uh, we're gonna start always with the tool. So yeah, so make sure we're gonna pick a chamfer tool. So I'll just pick a chamfer tool here. Cut parameters. This is one thing a bit different here is that your toolpath is going to calculate the chamfer by looking at your model. So we don't need to specify anything here. It will just look at the model and then do the chamfer by itself. Same thing here. If I go to linking parameters, you would see that I don't even have an option to specify the depth, right? So yeah, basically that's about it. Something went wrong in the geometry selection, so I will just go in and add the geometry now. Okay, so if I just explore the toolpath and go to geometry and add. All right, so basically we wanted to, let's say we wanted to do this edge on the pocket. All right, so once the geometry is picked, as you see, because this is kind of a contour operation, so we wanted to make sure the direction of the chain is correct. So that is going, uh, you know, it's going to be like a conventional mill. So I'm going to just reverse the direction from here. And you don't want to start on an arc, so I'm going to just move it forward and bring it on the straight line. So that's good. So I'll just say okay. Yeah, that's it. I will just say okay and regenerate my toolpath, and it should be all good. Okay, so the toolpath is there, but there is one minor problem. If we zoom it in here, you can see that the toolpath is starting in the corner, so that's why it's not applying lead in, lead out properly. So what I would do is to fix that, you just go into the parameters, and yeah, I will check the option for entry exit at the midpoint. Right, and also I will just reduce the sweep a little bit. We don't need a 90-degree sweep. Just copy that information there. What is that happening? Yeah. Okay, and then okay. That should basically fix it. Okay, so now you see the chamfer is starting in the middle of the face and nice and smooth. Now let's check actually how the chamfer tool is following the chamfer. Uh, let's start with ISO first. So I'm going to just make it fit so that we can see the whole thing. All right, so now if I try to backplot that toolpath, we want to see how the tool is following the contour. Is it doing the chamfer properly or not? So now starting there, yeah, I'm gonna just take it one step back. Okay, there. So we should be from the side view, we should be able to see it if it's doing the chamfer correctly. Now, one way of checking, especially the inner feature, is that we can cross section. So create a section view and then have a look at from the side. So if I go into planes, there in the section, if I click it here, it would create a section for me. Now, how you do that? There is a short, quick, couple-minute video to do the section view. You can watch it. It's in resources. Okay, so now if I look it from the right side, I should be able to see the tool. Zoom it in, and if I see, so if you see closely, what's happening is the tool is following the chamfer, but it's not going deep enough, right? The chamfer, the tool is right on the chamfer, but it's not just deep enough. It's not cleaning the whole chamfer. So that we're gonna just change it from the chamfer parameters. So I will just close it here and go back to toolpath. Yeah, so this 50 thou is not enough actually to push the tool through. So I'm gonna just make it zero point 0.1 to so that the tool goes down more, but while following the chamfer, right? And then that should take care of it. Okay, the toolpath is generated already. So let's check the backplot again. It's there. See, now the tool is following the chamfer and is going, uh, nicely beyond it, just passing the chamfer and going into it. That's done. Now let's look at the other chamfers as well. I'm going to put it to isometric, and from the levels, from the planes, I would just go back to my normal view and uncheck the section. Let's add the other feature, these chamfers which are outside as well. So I'm going to just go into geometry and see it doesn't allow me to add, but I can always rechain all. This time I'm going to use the face, uh, the face option, because basically you wanted to chamfer it on this face, right? That's the face. So because it has the chamfers for the pocket and the chamfer for the outside contour. So those are all the contours. So I would say okay, and let's say okay here and regenerate it. All right. So with this toolpath, we already cross-checked that the inner chamfer, the pocket chamfer, was okay. It was doing good. But now let's see how how it does on the outside chamfers as well. So remember, the chamfer on the pocket is much smaller than the chamfer on the outside contour. Right? The chamfer is, I think, only 20 thou. Outside is I think 50 thou. But anyway, they are smaller. So let's see if it's adjusting it on both the chamfers. So it's starting it outside uh, with that. You see, even though it looks like it's doing chamfers on the sharp edges as well, where in the model we don't have chamfer. But if you look up carefully, from the front view, like by bringing that view in the front and then zooming it in, you would see it that it's actually not doing any chamfer. It's just following those edges. So this model chamfer toolpath is smart enough that it's not chamfering there, right? I mean, it's following the edge, so it anything it might just deburr the edge, which is not a bad thing anyway. So now if I just let it go, put it again in isometric and then keep going. Yeah, so once it's here, I just again maybe actually on there, we wanted to see if it's following that chamfer properly or not. Right, so once again, I'll go in planes and activate my section view. And now by looking at from the side, actually we could have looked at without section view, but it will make it a little bit more clear. So looking at from the right side view, and we can see if I just zoom it in there, you can see it's doing that chamfer. Use a zoom window. So if we zoom it in here, you can see it's following that uh, nicely, right? It's following the chamfer. The only thing again is that the tool is not going deep enough. It's just barely hitting the edge. So we can just go a little bit more deeper and it would take care of it. It will still follow the inside, the pocket chamfer uh, as it is. So let me just make that change. So in here, I would, because it's already hitting the edge, so we just need to go a little bit more. So I would just go like 20 more top, just to clean that chamfer. All right, so you can see now after making adjustment, the tool is going through properly and creating, following the chamfer as well. And if we just zoom out, so let's back plot it one more time, just to see, check through. So it's following the outside chamfer properly, and as it go after finishing the outside chamfer, it's gonna go in. See, when it's doing the inside chamfer, it's adjusting the depth and following the chamfer properly. So that's the advantage of using this toolpath, is that within the same toolpath you can do different amount of chamfers, different depth of chamfer you can do within the same toolpath, and it calculates it by looking at the model, right? And you don't have to adjust any depth and chamfer amount, because it will be looking at the model. And yeah, it just makes things much easier, that making mistakes or punching in the wrong numbers and stuff, that won't happen with this. One more application, or one more you can say advantage of using this chamfer toolpath is, a lot of time you have things in the way of chamfer where the tool can clash into another feature. So let me just bring a feature actually, just to demonstrate. So if I just let's say there is a little island there, right? And now if my chamfer toolpath is following that chamfer, when it's crossing that, it's gonna crash. The tool will crash into that, right? So with this toolpath, you can actually avoid it. So let's see how we do that. So we will go, I will just one more time go into the toolpath parameters on the toolpath type. There, this is the chain which we picked for our geometry, right? And this here, we can pick something to avoid. So we can pick a avoidance model actually. So if I go there, I would say that this is what I wanted to avoid, right? And selection. Now, also it's going to calculate that, but also you can add some clearance. So let's say you don't want to go very, next to it, that it might still kind of, touch it. So you can create a clearance. So it will stay 50 away from your model, which we have just specified. So now, yeah, you can keep 50 or whatever distance you wanted to, but now it would stay away. So now if I calculate that, or regenerate it, you would see how it behaves. All right. So you see after now what it has done is that it's not going in that area. So the toolpath tool is gonna just go close to it. It calculates it where it is, and then stay in 50th away, and then jump around it. Right. So that's another good feature about this, that you can add avoidance regions where you don't want to go. So one more toolpath we wanted to try is the drill chamfer. So there is a 1-inch hole in there, you can see in the model. Uh, I have the drill toolpath here already, uh, which is doing 1-inch drill. Right. So now we wanted to chamfer that hole basically by using the drill chamfer toolpath. So let's go ahead. I would explore those, and there's a chamfer drill toolpath, chamfer drill. So once you pick that, it just asks you, uh, the hole. Where is the hole? So you just pick the geometry of your hole. That's the hole size. It picked it already. Say 1-inch diameter. So you want to make sure the diameter it picks is the diameter of your hole, not the chamfer. Right. And now in the tool, all you wanted to make sure that your chamfer tool is big enough, otherwise you're going to get error. So I just have an 1.5 inch or 1.25 inch chamfer tool there, just for demo, because we have 1-inch hole and there's a 0.1 chamfer on it. So yeah, that's all. You pick your tool, and everything else, the cut parameters, yeah, the all this stuff, it by looking at the model, it just takes care of linking parameters as well. The clearance and things you wanted to make sure, but you see, I don't need to mention any depth. So we'll just look at the chamfer and calculate the depth, and that's it. It does it already. So if I just try to backplot that, you see, so this hole, even though it is inside the pocket, it looks at it. All right, so I have backplot on. Let's see. I'm gonna just run it a single step. Okay, so there is the chamfer. It's reaching the chamfer. If you want to really make sure, again, we can look at up in the cross section or the section view and look from the side. Now look it up from the side. Okay, so you can see it's just sitting on that chamfer property. Right? See, the chamfer is just peeking through. So yeah, that's another helpful toolpath for chamfering the holes. Okay, so at the end, let's just verify everything together and see how the chamfers are. Now for verification, I have just saved the STL file where the pockets and everything else is machined, so that we can just only look at the chamfers. All right, so I have selected those toolpaths which we wanted to run, and let's go verify. Verify model is ready. So let's see how it looks. So you can see it's creating chamfers where the chamfer is in the model, but not on the sharp edges. And also it missed that one solid which we mentioned to miss it. Okay, now its chamfer part is done. Now it's going to drill the hole and then chamfer on the drill. There we go. You can see the chamfers are different amount, but it's calculating it all within the same toolpath, and it's also avoiding the areas which we wanted to avoid.